Hello and welcome to today's video. So in this one I'm going to be talking about an awesome Kickstarter project that I've been able to preview and have some fun printing off and doing some painting with, called Karvenheim by Dragon's Forge Miniatures, which is basically the perfect set if you are into collecting Dwarven armies and you also want to build yourself some Dwarven buildings and towns. So let's get on with the preview. So first up, a couple of disclaimers. So the first one is that I've been provided the STLs free of charge by Dragon's Forge Miniatures just to print up, give my impressions for. It's going to be completely honest, my thoughts about it, and also as well that these models are subject to change as well. Obviously it's a Kickstarter, so things could happen, things can change. They are just kind of early previews at the moment, so different things will happen in the future. With all of that boring stuff out of the way, let's get on to what you get with the Karvenheim Kickstarter. Now, it's really good fun. If you are into your Dwarven miniatures, then these are really worthwhile checking out. I've checked out some of the work by Dragon's Forge Miniatures in the past, and I really liked it. So when they gave me the opportunity to preview their latest Kickstarter, I figured, you know what, there's absolutely no way I am passing that up. And I've been recently quite interested in the idea of getting into sort of like having a Dwarven army. The thing that really hooked me with this was the fact that you also get the buildings and all the terrain stuff to go with it. And there's just absolutely no way I could pass that opportunity up. The miniatures themselves are at a 28mm scale, so they should fit with pretty much all of your other wargaming or role-playing stuff as well, so they won't look out of place amongst your other miniatures. They'll come pre-supported, and you can also use them unsupported as well, so if you're into doing your own support, you'll be able to do that. And if you don't have a 3D printer, you can actually buy all of the prints directly from Dragon's Forge Miniatures, so it's definitely worthwhile having a look there if you don't have a 3D printer. There's a whole host of different things that you get. So far I have printed off 5 of these spear units. I really like them, and also 5 of these sort of like hammer units. Now, they are more traditional type dwarves, so you've got the big, thick, chunky armor, things like hammers, there's all sorts of different weapons, but there's also some really cool poses. They're not in massive like action poses, which I like, by the way. Feet are both firmly planted on the bases, which is also good. But yeah, there's a really good assortment of different characters and everything that you get with this set. You've got axes, you've got bows, you've got, I believe there's these really cool looking gunners as well that I need to get around to printing because they look absolutely fantastic. And I'll show a preview up on the screen. So all in all, you get all sorts of different units. You also get the boar riders, and these are amazing. These dwarves are all really kind of just really short and stocky, and they kind of remind me of being like maybe something between a halfling and a dwarf. I love the style of these. They look fantastic. All the weapons and poses, they all fit nicely together. But these boars, these are probably some of my favorites, and I need to print off some more of these and get them painted up. Boars are all armored up. The dwarf on top is all armored up, and they just, yeah, I really like these. One thing to bear in mind, potentially will change, who knows, but the dwarf rider and the boar are all kind of one print, so they come off together, similar to what I found with Dragon's Forge miniatures in the past. The dwarves that you're seeing at the moment, I just went with a really simple paint scheme. So they are a Gore Grunter Fur, the Citadel contrast paint, for all of the armor, and then I've used a Basilicanum Grey for all like the fabrics underneath and the chainmail and everything else. I used an Agros Dunes, I think it's called, for the shaft of the weapons, and then obviously the contrast paint orange for the hair. To be honest, I think that combination worked really nicely. I then hit it with a sort of like creamy dry brush, and then on some of them I threw in some gold as well, just to kind of bring out some of that detail. I mixed it up a bit with this sort of like King Commander guy, and he's fantastic. I mean, he's got a sculpt of himself on his helmet, and the sculpt of himself on the helmet also has a sculpt of himself. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. With him, I just went for the normal black with the contrast paint black, and then I kind of highlighted it with a gold. Really like the way that came out. So obviously, you get a lot of units, which is fantastic. And the good thing is, they have split it up. You can either back them in terms of just going for the units, if you're not interested in the terrain and the scenery, or you can back them and just go for the terrain and the scenery, or you can do both, obviously, if you are a greedy wargamer like myself. So moving across to the miniatures, let's talk about the terrain and the buildings. Now the great thing about these is it is all modular, so depending on the size of your printer, you don't have to worry about it being too big. So like this house, for example, the back part here up until these kind of columns with just one piece, you've got these 2 separate bits of wall that you can use to extend it, and then the front piece as well. The front piece. With the roof, it's a similar story as well. So this is in 3 separate pieces. So depending on the size of building, if you want to go for like a really long hall or something like that, you can pop that on there. And then if you want to extend it and have multiple floors, you've got all sorts of like dungeon tiles and city tiles as well that you can print off as part of this set. So you could then print off like another floor and then just have an extra bit on top of it. You could go all the way up to like, well, as many floors as you like if you're feeling crazy. There's all sorts of bits of decorative pieces that you can get with this as well. So if you want to throw in some like beds and everything else, that's going to come as part of the campaign, which is really cool. They've got all sorts of different city walls as well. So if you want to really go full hog and not just do buildings, bear in mind there's multiple different templates for the buildings as well. So you're not just limited to this style. You can have much bigger things if you want to. You can also print off all these really cool walls. I will maybe try to do it. I think I might be pushing my printer to the limits with it being a Mars 3. But it is very tempting to try and go full hog with it. So let me know in the comments. Should I attempt it? Let me know. Maybe I will do. But yeah, you can print off all the different towers. There's all sorts of different walls and everything that you can get with it. And then they've got this massive like long haul that you can get. The great thing is they've been smashing through the stretch goals. So there's all sorts of different types of buildings that are going to be coming across as part of this Kickstarter campaign that look really, really fun to print off. Another thing to note with this as well is they've got all these little holes inside of it as well. So if you want to magnetize these, I think that's a word. If you want to stick a magnet in these, you can do, and then obviously it'll kind of stick it all together. For me, I've just glued this together just for kind of easy use. I'm probably not going to break it down into multiple different parts. But if you wanted to just have, I guess, the world's your oyster type approach, you could literally stick some magnets in this and just have loads and loads of different combinations depending on your need at the time. If it's on a wargaming table, you could then have smaller buildings, larger buildings. If you're doing some RPG and some like role playing, then also as well you could snap these apart and kind of just stick them back together. So I love the modularity of this set, and they look fantastic. The detail on these is really good, and again, like this front piece here, there was loads of different ones I could do. I could do like a shop front, a tavern front, just a normal house front. There's all sorts of pillars that you can have, so I could then kind of have it extended over the front, and these pillars over here if I wanted to. Have it in the middle. It just, again, you can customize these so much, which is really cool. Along with things like the buildings, there's loads of different like Dwarven statues that you can get. So if you wanted to have those scattered around your town, printed one up here and literally just kind of undercoated with black and hit it with a dry brush of grey. I think it looks pretty cool to start off with. But there's loads of different types of dwarf statues. You've got ones that are like holding things up. So again, if you're into terrain building, you could literally have some of those, then maybe build a plinth or use this as like a plinth or a bottom even. It's just loads of different things that you can create with this set. So hats off to the sculptors. They have done a load of different things, and you can just mix and match and change things, or you can print off like their templates. Yeah, and it doesn't matter too much about how big or small your printer is because you can break them down into smaller parts. So all in all, if you are a collector of, or if you're looking to start collecting something new, in terms of Dwarven armies, it's well and truly worth checking out. I think it's like £75 to get the whole lot. There are cheaper tiers as well if you just want to go for like the Dwarven units or just for the terrain itself, so it's worthwhile. Head on over, check out their Kickstarters. I have the link down below. They are fantastic. I've really, really enjoyed these, and I can't wait to see how well their Kickstarter does and what is next for these. I mean, they're just so cool. I really, really like them. They're just a very cool looking style. They definitely won't look out of place on your games table. So yeah, head on over, check them out, and show them some love. So thank you very much, Dragon's Forge, for sending these over to me. I've had a blast with them so far. And let me know in the comments, do you want to see me print off everything else that I've got for these and do like a whole Dwarven army and maybe even a Dwarven town? I am very tempted. I mean, these buildings are really cool, but it's going to take me a while. So let me know in the comments whether or not that's something you actually want to see me do, what sort of thing you'd like me to do next with these, if you want me to do anything. In the meantime, hit that like and subscribe button. Come along for some more awesome content and support the channel. If you want to buy any of the supplies that I use, I've got them linked below. And if you fancy on heading over to my Patreon, really supports the channel to grow. I'll be back in the future. Bye.